Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Thanks for coming out. Doing a little something different tonight. Now that NARC's over and my son's baseball is, just in full swing right now. No pun intended. Just I've got a ton of stuff going on this week with my son's baseball, and so I need to build this Road to Pro setup. And I was like, you know what? I didn't get a YouTube video out like I wanted to today, so let's do a live stream and build a setup. So here we are. So thanks for coming out. Brian, good evening. Tommy, I love the Insider program. Just wish I had more time to race. Well, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate you being a part of it, dude. Anybody who supports the community, I appreciate it, man. I really do. And heck, I wish you had more time to race, too. I wish I had more time to race. All right, so basically, I just did a couple laps real quick. This session's only been open a couple minutes. And the first thing that we're doing is, and I'll go over this real quick. Someone's asking for a free setup, or asking for a setup. I got a free one I'll share. The heck, my push to talk not working? Push to talk. There we go. Why does it say my mic is disconnected? My mic's not disconnected. I just shared a free setup if you want to grab it. It's just a free setup that's available on my website, so it's a good starting point for this track. Schoolofsimracing.net. No problem, man. If you want, I'm actually live streaming on my YouTube channel right now about how I build these setups. If you want to watch it, you can check that out too. Okay, so anyways, I did a couple of laps with the... Oh, dang it. I don't think I saved the setup that I had. No, I didn't. I didn't save it. God dang it. That's okay. Where was it? RTP... It should have been this right here. Okay, so yeah, this is it right here. So basically, when there's... So you really have like... You got like 3 types of setups on ovals, okay? On ovals. And take out restrictor plates. So take out Daytona, Talladega. And take out, obviously for the trucks, the Xfinity, and the Cup cars. Even the next-gen Cup cars, okay? So you have, and most people think of them in terms of like short tracks, intermediate tracks, or, like big tracks, right? Like, above 1.5 mile, 2-mile tracks, that type of thing. But you don't want to think of them like that. The way that you want to think of them is you want to think of them in terms of banked or not banked, okay? High speed corners or low speed corners. Like that's the kind of the way that you want to think of it. Like fast corners, right? Like, and fast corners can be flat. Like Pocono, for example, would be a track that you would consider to have faster corners, right? Obviously, it's a very big track. It's fast, right? The corners aren't super banked, but you carry speed through those corners, especially like something like the tunnel turn, right? So there's different ways that you want to look at it. So for me, the way that I break it down is I have kind of like 3 realms that I look at. If fast, high bank tracks, and that could be a track like Bristol, or it could be a track like Atlanta, for example, right? Those kind of setups for me, I'm going to start off with a higher cross weight and more spring split, okay? Because of the way that the car or truck in this example is leaning into the corner, is basically squatting into the corner, because bank tracks, we want the car to squat more. Flatter tracks will have it roll a little bit more. So you want to look at more spring split and more cross weight, okay? On a flatter track or like a slower track, like take New Hampshire, for example. New Hampshire, you would do little to no spring split, and then you would do a lower cross weight, okay? Because that'll help the car get through the corner. And then when you're coming out of the corner, since you've got the lower cross weight, when you accelerate, because there's no spring split, now the car is going to roll more, and you can get that drive off the corner. And then you'll have a track that'll be it's kind of like the in-between. So a good example of like a tweener track would be a tweener track would be like Nashville Super Speedway, right? Is a good example. Or even like Texas, where you've got, you got sweeping corners. They're not super high bank. They're kind of deceiving. Kentucky's another good example where you can carry speed, but they're flatter, but they're not, they're not high bank, but they're not flat. Like they're kind of in between. Like those, a lot of times, what you'll end up with is low spring split, kind of mid cross weight, maybe like, 50, 51, 52%, and then you'll run like a lot of track bar rake on a track like that, okay? Now, Bristol obviously will fall into the, like high banked, fast, corner, that type of track. So here, I usually start off with more spring split and more cross weight, okay? But before I do any of that stuff, all right, and I've got a base setup here that I've got on here that I just went out, did a couple of laps, and this is kind of my base setup that I'm going to start with. What I want to do, the first thing that I need to do, though, is I need to get my gear ratio. I got to get the gear figured out because we have 2 gear options here at Bristol. We can run a 463 or a 457. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a big difference in these trucks. That's a big difference. If you remember the Road to Pro race that we ran a couple weeks ago, I was incredibly fast, and then like everybody who had the exact same setup in the Ford trucks, they were redlining like halfway down the straightaway, right? So get the gear ratio is super important, and it was a 1 gear difference. Like it went from a 422 to a 411. Like it was something really, really small, and people were redlining and the motors were heating up because of it, right? It was the weirdest thing. So I want to get the gear ratio right, and then I've got to get the front ride heights correct. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this for this track is because Bristol is really unique. If you can get the nose sealed off at Bristol, you can do it anywhere. Because the right front it collapses so much at this track because of the speed that you're carrying. Getting the nose seal off here is very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. Okay? So, first thing that we want to do here is, before I even mess with this spring deflection or anything like that, I want to put this arm symmetry at 5. The reason I want to put it at 5 is because the higher that this number is, the more the car rolls to the left. Okay, and the straightaways are not long here, so we don't have to worry about losing straightaway speed. Here it's all about our corner speed. All about our corner speed. Okay, so I want to put that at 5. What's up, Donkey? What's up, David? I'm just building this Bristol setup for the Road to Pro race this week. So, figured I'd live stream it and do a little teaching, Why not? Have some fun. Got an open test session for anybody to join. Here we are. I do want some more crossweight than that. That should be a little bit more. There we go. That's good enough to test. We can test that. So I just want to make sure right now that my nose is down and that my right front is not bottoming out going into the corner. That's the number one thing that I'm doing right now. I don't even care about...
Got one inside. All clear, all clear.
The truck that just ran into the back of me as I was pulling onto the track. Okay. I don't even care right now about speed. I gotta get this nose down before I do anything else. And make sure that it's not bottoming out. Also got to check my gear to make sure that we're not redlining at the end of the straightaway. We just bottomed out right there. Right there, too. Bristol's actually a deceivingly bumpy track. And we're redlining. We're gonna have to go with the longer gear. And we gotta fix those ride heights. We gotta fix those front springs and those ride heights. Because we're bottoming out, we're hitting the limiter. So we can't, that shorter gear we're not gonna be able to run. I mean, maybe if I was gonna run the bottom the whole race, but I don't want to tie myself into that because the top is pretty fast here. I want to have the truck handle on the bottom in case I got to go down there to pass. The middle to high line is usually the fast line here. All right, so let's pull up Motec here. Let's see what the ride heights look like here. So first of all, I want to make sure that I'm coil binding. Go to my coil bind calculation. We are coil binding on the left front, which is what I want. I want a coil bind on the left front. Ride heights, you can see right here where we're bottoming out. Bottoming out like crazy. But here's the thing. Well, we're bottoming out on the track, so going into the corner, what is up with this? That's not right. That's not... What the hell is that? There we go. That looks better. So we're bottoming out going into the corner, which is where I was feeling it a lot. I mean, obviously we're bottoming out in other places too. Exit of the corner. But the lowest parts right here, my left front is at 1.8. Eesh, that's too low. And then the right front is at 2.1 there. Okay, so I want to watch... Let's see, what lap was that? That was on lap number 2 of that run. Okay, so I want to actually watch this on the replay because this will actually show you. This will not give you the most accurate in terms of the actual number that your ride heights are, but it'll show you the roll and stuff like that, which is what I want to see. Yeah, you can see where it's bottoming out there. Now, here's the thing, though. See how the right front is higher? Dang it, let me back up. See how that right front is higher than that left front? That's good. That was the arm symmetry that we put in, so that's what I want to see. Not more on the left side than the right side. Okay, so that's good. That means that all I need to do is I need to adjust this spring deflection. So we're going to go to a 320. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to... God, I almost want to try a 310 on the right front. You know what? Let's just try this 320, though, real quick. Let's try the 320. and see how that works. I do want to run more, a little bit more downforce than normal, which I just do by raking the car more, or the truck in this case. I always say car, the truck in this case, just because this track, downforce does play a role. You do build up enough speed to where downforce matters. So, all right, let's go see what we got here. I do need help with this stuff. Well, Donkey, you come to the right place, man. Hopefully this will help some. That's good. We're not bottoming out, which is why we actually broke loose. The nose isn't hitting, so the front wheels are actually turning the maximum. Whoa! I do want to try to get a couple more laps, though, with this. Actually, that kind of felt like we bottomed out right there. Not in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2, it feels like we're still bottoming out. Right there. This thing's way loose. She's definitely loose now that she's turning and not bottoming out. But it still feels like we're bottoming out in 1 and 2. Let me bring up old telemetry. Good old faithful. Yeah, we're still bottoming out. We bottomed out in 3 and 4. Oh, that was when we got loose, though. So hold on. Wait, that's not it. What's the one I just did? Up right there. Oh, we're bottoming out like crazy. Still. Where did we bottom out this time? I think I need a stiffer spring on the right front. I really do. Hold on, what was that at? That was at 339. 4.93. Actually, I'm going to leave it at 498. We're going to leave it right. Or no, we're not. Actually, yes, we are, because I'm going to drop this down and get some more cross weight. I need some more cross weight. There we go. That's good. And actually, let's raise that. This camber adjustment on the left front is really good for fine-tuning your left front right height. It's really good for that. Try to be, 5.7 to 6, around there. You just max it out, basically. And actually, you know what? Let's go to a 6721. Let's go to a 700 on the left rear right now. Okay. Back out we go. I might have to change those truck arms. What does it feel like when you're bottoming out? So Donkey, what you feel when you bottom out is you will actually feel it in the wheel because the truck will shift. It's like all of a sudden it doesn't turn and it pushes up the track. because the nose is actually digging in.
Car stop down low. Go high.
God dang, it still feels like it's bottoming out. We might not, I might have to go down to just a 300 on the left front and really raise this thing up. I mean, because even with the, I mean, God, it's coil binding and it's still bottoming out, like by a lot. I keep raising that thing up, it's still bottoming out, bottoming out, bottoming out. Huh. I don't remember the spring package I had on here before. I think it was 300. Yeah, look it. Still bottoming out. Still. Alright, so let's do this. Let's go 300. Let's just go to 300s here. Let's put that up to 4.9. And then let's go 300 here. Okay, so let's do that. Actually, you know what? I bet... Alright, so in situations like this, it doesn't happen very often. But one of the best things to do is raise that right side up more. There we go. Like that. Ah, dang it. I wanted that to stay at that. Dang it. There we go. I want to keep that at that. There we go. Okay. 1.8 and 1.9 might not sound like a lot, but at a track like Bristol, it is. 499. That's close enough. We can roll with that. Let's try that. What's up, Landon? You know, Brian, I think it's cool that they're doing that. Like, I hope it turns out good, and I hope that there's something that ends up benefiting the sim. You know, like one of the things that I think will come out of it, hopefully, is AI racing for dirt. And I know a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people be like, yeah, we don't really need that. But for me, and this is my own selfish reasons, for me as a builder, having AI for dirt to where I could actually put a bunch of AI cars on the track and have the track run in instead of me having to use a pre-gen track, that's huge. That's huge. There we go. Now we're not bottoming out. Still a little loose, though. But that's okay. We're not bottoming out. So, step 1, good. Step 1 and 2, because we also know the gear. So, we got those 2 done. Alright. So now... And it actually still felt like it was coil binding, too. Let me double check that. And heck, we were still bottoming out a little bit there. What's our splitter angle? Oh, it's negative in the corners. So you know what? We need to go to... I got to max that arm symmetry. We're going to just max that out. Let's max that out. Okay, so we got that maxed out. All right, so let's save this. So now I've got this. Okay, so next thing I got to do is... I want that at 12, actually. So now that we got that, and was that coil binding still? Coil bind? Yeah, we're still coil bound. Okay, sweet. Like, my ride heights going down the straightaway are really high, but at this track, it doesn't really matter that much because the straightaway speed doesn't matter that much here. Getting through the corners is what's going to matter. Okay, so now that we got this, thought I saved that. Let's save it again. Okay, so now that we got this, the next thing I got to do is I've got to get my rear springs, my cross weight, and my track bars. Okay. Now, I don't want to actually mess with my track bars too much because whenever I can get at a track like this, if I can get -6, +6, -1.9, +1.9, if I can get like this, like that's really good. I know that, like I said, I know it doesn't sound like much, but it does. It really does make a big difference when you can yaw the truck like that and max out those cambers on the rear. I guess I should do it like this. It really helps. So one thing that I need to do is the truck on entry actually feels pretty good. It could be a little bit looser on entry and maybe a little bit tighter on exit. You know what? I almost wonder if I should, instead of messing with those track bars, I almost wonder if I should try the truck arm mounts. I don't want to do bottom because I think that's going to be too aggressive. Maybe middle. Let's try middle. I need 6.932 on the ride heights. 6.938. That's close enough. Let's go. Let's try middle. And 6.735. There we go. Bam. All right, we got that. We're still good. Yeah. I need to put this steering offset to 0 so I can actually feel that and see how much I need to do that. And I want to... How much is it going to let me do before it takes that away? Oh, nice. Okay, so sweet. I got a lot of room in the track bar before that's going to... See, when you adjust that track bar, if you take too much split out of it or add too much split, it'll take this away. The rear ride heights and the track bar rake is what you get this with. And so when I find that, like I said, I try to keep it like there. I do want to try raising that track bar up some. And let's see here. So one of the ways to know... Yeah, it's hosted, Devin. You can hop in. It's open. It just says SSR... SSR... NASCAR Truck Road to Pro test session or something like that. There's no password or anything like that. It's just open to whoever wants to come in. Okay, see how the thing just slides? So, when you go into a corner, if the truck just slides on you, like it just spins out like it doesn't have any rear grip, there's two reasons for that. One is too much track bar height. The other is not enough crossweight. Our crossweight is actually pretty low. But I need to run a few laps to see which one I want to change, because here's the deal. The crossweight I also use to balance out my tire wear. Okay, I don't just use that for handling. I use it also to balance out tire wear. Whoops, I just hit the wall. So, I don't want to go adjusting my crossweight if my tire wear is going to be balanced. But I think we can add a little bit more. The track bar, it actually feels really good on the track bar. I don't want to change that. The way that you can tell the track bar, if it feels good, is it's almost like stagger when you've got it raked out like that. It almost feels like it's leading itself into the corner. And that actually feels pretty good. So I'm going to actually keep it like that. My tires actually look pretty good. So I want to keep the track bar like that. So let's actually do this. Let's 1, 2, 1, 2. Dang it, it just changed that. I don't want that. Oh, you're not going to let me do it, huh? God dang it. Alright, sorry. If I can keep this 6:30 seconds, it'll still be good. 2, 2, 1. I just lost the 6:30 seconds, too. God dang it. Ugh. Alright, 2% on the track bar, or 2% on the crossweight. Let's try that and see. I want this thing to go into the corner and then drive off on throttle. So I want it to drive almost like a dirt car.
Down low. Go high.
Still feels like we're bottoming out. But we'll see how that is in a few laps, because the tire pressures come up and then it stops bottoming out. I don't want to mess with it. I want to actually leave it. I might have to take more rake out of this thing. That might be why it's still bottoming out a little bit. I might have too much rake into it, so it's digging the nose in. This is what I go through every week when I'm building setups in the Insider program. It's how I can end up spending 12 hours on a damn setup. I got a few degrees of steering wheel angle I need to put into this thing. Offset. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to drop that rear some. It still feels like we're bottoming out some on the front. Which I did not think would be the case with two 300-pound springs up front. Let's see here. Oh, we're still bottoming out. By a lot, too. Yeah, by a lot. Okay, so let's what's that? 1.7, 1.8, 1.8, 1.8. Yeah, let's go with 1.8 and see. 1.8 might be the magic number. So I try to be somewhere between like 1.7 and 2 inches in terms of the platform, rear end being higher than the front. It depends on the track. Because you're carrying so much speed into the corner here, though, it's hard to get that profile without the nose just digging in. That feels much better. Much better. Oops, wall. Okay, now we're gonna need some... Alright, so that felt way better. If we were bottoming out there, it was minor. I want to save that before I forget. Double check. It's freaking tedious, huh? It's tedious, man. Aha, there we go. Oh, that was the one I got sideways. I don't want to see that one. Those three. Much better. And I think I can actually fix that with the 2.62. Okay. All right, so now I need to... I think I need stiffer springs in the rear. I think I'm going to go with a What's the max I can go with 700 or 800? Actually, let me leave the 700 in the lefter because it actually feels pretty good on entry. Let me go with a, what's like max I can go here? 1400. So let's go with the 1250. I'm going to actually raise this up slightly. .503 on the deflection. Actually, I think I want this at 7.5. This one, and I think I need 4 on the offset. Okay. So let's try this and see what we got here. Let me see. Question. Would it be better to run a big right front spring here instead of coil binding the right front spring? Okay, so Shockeye, we don't coil bind the right front spring. And if I actually go to a stiffer right front spring, I'm going to have less deflection, which would mean that it would have a better chance of coil binding. So we could try going to a stiffer right front spring, but that can open up a really big can of worms, right? So I'll actually show you real quick. Let me run a couple laps here, because most people think like that a stiffer spring doesn't compress as much, or it's harder to coil bind, and it's not. A stiffer spring is shorter. There's less deflection. That's the way kind of springs work. So I'll show you what I mean here in just a sec. Now this is one of those unique tracks because the load on the right front is so much because of how high banked it is and the speed you're carrying into the corner. Hey, what's up, man? I'm good, how are you? Made what? Yeah. Oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm just glad it helps, man. Yeah, I'm doing a live test session right now at Bristol, building a setup. No, you can be in here, man. That's why I'm in this one. This one's open to everybody. So yeah, you can come on in and hang out. Okay, so right here, let me make sure I get the name right. Shockeye. So as you can see right here, so this right here is a calculation that I use to measure the coil bind of the shot or of the springs on the left front and right front. Keep in mind it's not going to be 100% accurate because of the fact that I can do calculations and get as close as possible to the installation ratio, the motion ratio, right, of the springs and shocks and all that stuff like that. But the way that I do this is that it takes the deflection numbers and then it's taking the deflection of the spring, then we use the deflection difference of the shock, and we combined with the motion ratio, and then we figure out how much we have left to coil bind the spring. If you look at the left front, for example, it says that it's negative 3/10 of an inch. Well, it's impossible for a spring to coil bind negative 3/10, right? It can only collapse, and that's as far as it goes. The reason why is because a spring can coil bind, and then the suspension still moves because of the shock. That's why it's like that. So as long as this left front's negative, you know that the spring's coil bound. Now on the right front, it's not coil bound, right? You can see that it's close. We got about a half an inch still before it's fully compressed, but it's not fully coil bound. If we look at the... Did I just put on the latest one? I got started talking. Yes, I did. Okay, so if we look at the ride heights here, you can see that we're still bottoming out some. One of the bad things with soft springs is that yes, they'll collapse, but they have more to collapse. So a 300-pound spring, imagine, let's say it's this high, where a 350-pound spring is this high, right? Now, the 350-pound spring is harder to compress, but it has less distance. So that's the game that you play, is trying to figure out how much distance to get it to collapse and how much pressure to get it to collapse, right? It's this happy medium that you're trying to find. Now, the right front, for the most part, a lot of times we just leave a 300 in there. Now, this is a track, though, right, as you can see, even with the softest springs, the most amount of travel, right, you can see we still have a lot of distance left to get that thing to be fully collapsed. God, that's a tongue twister. We're still bottoming out, right? So, for example, we'll just do this just for to show this, right? Let's put a 400 on both. We want to be at 5 and 4796. So we're going to go 400. Now look at that deflection number. 2.85 of 5.87, okay? So that's the deflection that's remaining out of that, right? Did you see? I mean, that changed almost 0.2 of an inch compared to the 300. Like, that doesn't sound like much, but that's a lot, right? That's a ton, okay? If you look over here, our deflection is 5.03. If I go to 400 on this, and we drop this ride height back down, we're at 3.79. So we've lost like an inch, right? I mean, 1.2 inches, like a ton, okay? But the ride height and the front is still basically the same. So let's try it. And heck, this might work. I've never tried two 400s on Bristol before. And that's the thing. Some tracks this could work, and some tracks it might not work. It just depends on speed, the rest of the setup, right? Cross weight. See, this thing doesn't even want to turn.
Outside.
And it's because the nose is just dug into the ground. Sorry, man. Had the wrong springs on there. Car bottomed out, wouldn't turn. And so here, I don't even think we got a lap in. And look at right here, when we go into the corner, look at that, the nose is just dragging. And look at the ride heights. If we look at the lap before, or the one before where we had the, where are we at? Right here. Right, you can see with the 300-pound right front spring, the difference in the ride height, and the 300-pound left front spring compared to the 400-pound left front spring, huge difference. So that's what you're trying to do. Once you get now here's the deal. Once you get above 400 pounds, then you're like in a different ballpark, because now you're talking about a complete. Now it's much harder and harder and harder. So that's just the game, I guess you would call it, right? But once you get it figured out, you'll be good to go. Just getting it figured out. And I'm going to raise this up higher. Because now that we know that we're pretty close on that, I can always fine-tune that later. Now we got to start getting the rest of the setup dialed in.
Have a slow car on the bottom.
Alright, this feels pretty good.
Slow car ahead. Got a car stopped ahead. Slow car down low.
No!
Go high. Go high.
How come I'm never that lucky in the race? Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to let my air pressures come to temp. Let them build up some and see if this bottoming out goes away. If it does, then I can fix it with my shocks. Because I'm going to be looking to get 75 laps out of this thing at minimum.
Car stops down low.
I need this thing to be good for 75 laps at minimum. It's 100,
Slow car up ahead.
or no, maybe even longer, maybe 100 laps. I can't remember if the race is 150. I think the race is 175 laps. What's up?
Have a slow car on the bottom. Have a slow car on the bottom.
No, that's for anybody, man. Yeah, anybody can sign up for that, man.
Have a
I've
slow
been
car
good,
on
man.
the
How
bottom.
about you?
We have a car stopped down low. Go high.
I hear that. I am. At least that's the plan this Thursday. Okay. She's starting to get a little loose after a few laps. Alright, so right rear wearing out more than the right front. So that means that we do not have two things. We either don't have enough cross weight. Actually, it could be three things. We don't have enough cross weight, track bar, or right rear spring. What do I want to try first? Let's go cross weight, but first, let's see what we did. I gotta see my dynamic cross weight real quick. Let me get that white overlay off, because that's annoying me. There we go. That thing is still bottoming out. I've got to get that deflection better. Yeah, I mean, it can be. I would at least tune the low speeds for handling. You can put the slopes at 5 if you don't want to mess with those, but I would use the low speeds for handling. Yeah, I mean, you can leave the slopes, Devin, but I would tune the low speeds for handling. Let me see my... AR... that looks good. So, dynamic load... Oh, spring load, that's what I want right there. Right front, left front. What the hell happened there? Oh, that was that lap I got loose, I think. Where are we at coming out of the corner? So, right rear, the right rear's got almost double, it's got double the load as the left rear does coming out of the corner. What's my roll stiffness coming out of the corner? Yeah, okay. So let me go to dynamic crossweight. So, okay, so that's an anomaly. What's that, lap 5? Let me look at the laps after that. These 3. So dynamic crossweight is average of 50, low is 47.3. So coming into the corner, we're at 51. So basically when it comes to my dynamic crossweight curve, what I try to do is I want to have the dynamic crossweight be high. We're not getting as much of an increase coming off that I want to see. So I actually think I'm going to need to go up on that. Hold on, I gotta turn my fan on. It's freaking hot in here. Alright, let's try that. Okay. Dang, why's my wheel all cattywampus? There we go. Okay.
Have a slow car on the bottom. Go high.
No, 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 no!
Got one outside.
Woo!
Go high. All clear, all clear.
I think I finally got the bottoming out taken care of.
Slow car down low. Slow car down low. Go high.
Alright. Alright, this thing actually feels pretty decent, so I'm going to lay down about 25 laps here and see what we got.
Go high.
Now I got to start balancing out the tire wear on this thing. And when I do this, the way that I do this is I push this thing hard. I push it, and of course I spin out now. Alright, so we're still too loose. Whenever I do that, whenever I'm going to start increasing the length of my run, I push it hard. I want to push it to the max. Because what that allows me to do is if I can push the thing to the max, for example, and I can make it 40 laps, right, before the car's just like undrivable. Well, then I know that if I tone it down to like 90%, I can get, you know,